my name is Jane Stanley. I am going to propose today a solution to the tardy problem that we are currently having at Shawnee Mission Northwest High School and throughout the district. So while this is high school level, the intention is for it to be rolled out as a district level program to prevent tardies from becoming more of an issue than they currently are. So the first thing we are going to do is discuss why are tardies such an issue? What is the problem? A kid comes a couple minutes late to class. Is that really affecting his learning, and is it really disrupting the class to the point that we need to go back and reteach and start almost the class over once everybody arrives, whether it be 5 minutes or 10 minutes late? So the first piece here is the most crucial learning hours of the day are the morning hours, because this is when students are more attentive. So obviously being late, while it may not seem, they may have overslept, while they may have other excuses, they needed to get their coffee in the morning before they came. That is actually the time that when they are in class, they are learning the best is in the morning. And students who are frequently tardy have lower GPAs, lower scores on standardized assessments, and lower graduation rates. So obviously as a district, these are 3 key points and 3 things that we need to make sure that we're addressing. If we have the ability to make students more successful just by enacting a tardy policy, definitely something we should look into. So next, students that are frequently tardy have a higher rate of suspension and other disciplinary measures and causes the student to feel disconnected with the school, resulting in behavior problems. So obviously students are getting in trouble as they come in late, but is getting them in trouble what's really going to make them a better student or make them come to school on time? Because the more a student is getting in trouble, the more disconnected they're feeling to the school, and sometimes they even revert back to, I'm being attacked, you're picking on me, I'm late because I had to drop a sibling off at school. So this is something that as a district, maybe we can look at how we can approach this, so those that are coming in late and maybe they do have a legitimate reason, can we work with them? Can we work with their schedule? And lastly, students who are frequently tardy to school also are more apt to being fired from a job or for showing up late. So obviously this is a conditioned behavior. So they are coming to school late. We are saying that's okay. There's not really a strong disciplinary action. And this carries on into their adult life. So part of the district, part of our goal is to have students that are employable and be proud that they came from a Shawnee Mission School District, which would be, we know we should show up on time to work. We understand that there's consequences for these actions. So long term, we're setting them up for career readiness and making them better employees in the future. Tardiness creates greater potential for fighting and bullying. Again, you're coming in late, maybe 10 minutes, and we're not just talking first hour. Maybe after open lunch, you're not making it back in time. Why are you not making it back in time? Are you being bullied or bullying somebody in the bathroom? Are you in the stairwell? There's a reason we're not making it to time on class. Sometimes, you're late. It happens. We are talking about the repeat offenders who are late consistently to not only first hour, but throughout the day. Teachers report that the first 4 to 8 minutes of class is a waste of time because of straggling students disrupting instruction. As a teacher, I know I have been there, and as an administrator, you were formerly teachers, you have been there, you understand that first 4 to 8 minutes, sometimes we're just doing seat work so we can fill the time so people can filter in. So maybe as we are looking at the policy that I'm going to roll out and we have this discussion, we should look at, is it really that important for them to be there those first 4 to 8 minutes? Can we start instruction? Can we do something that will actually, the students will feel as though if I'm there, I'm going to get that added instruction that I need to be successful. So 40% of principal surveys cited student tardiness as the most serious or moderate problem in their schools, followed by absenteeism and physical conflict. So obviously as a district, we are not the only ones fighting this battle. There has been some schools that have just gotten rid of tardies. You can come and go, come as you please. I don't think that teaching that behavior as being acceptable is a very good idea, especially at this age. We need to be accountable for where our students are, and they need to be accountable for where they are, and they should be in the classroom learning. Administrators need to emphasize the minor policies of the school, such as the tardy policy, to make them the major policies of the school to create a well-ordered environment conducive to learning. Again, we talked about that 4 to 8 minutes being a loss. When you look at 4 to 8 minutes every class period over a day, week, month, semester, you are really losing a lot of instructional time for something that as a district we should be able to be covering and recovering that time that we've lost previously by implementing a policy. So what we gain from controlling tardies. So now we've discussed what the tardies were and what the challenges that came with them. So now we're going to talk about what we are going to gain from implementing a policy that we can then control the number of tardies that are happening. So once tardies are under control, students will gain the equivalent of 3 extra days a year of instructional time. Remember the statistic I gave you about the 4 to 8 minutes that we're 4 to 8 minutes, that we are losing at the beginning of the class period? We are now gaining that back by implementing a district-wide tardy policy and essentially gaining 3 days a year of instruction. That's huge when you look at prepping students for tests, when you look at prepping students for AP exams. That is the time that we need with those students in the classroom and instruction that they need to be successful. So I went into Shawnee Mission Northwest, and as a teacher, I have freshmen through seniors, and as they were taking their final exam in the spring, I gave them a survey about and asked them questions about what they thought the tardy problem was, if they had a problem, if they were aware that there was a problem. So the simple question, how many tardies do you have? Now I had 167 out of 1,600 students respond. So, while we have a significant test pool, this needs to be duplicated on a much larger level to make sure that we are gaining understanding of what the students see as being the problem, and then making sure that we are aligned with what we see as the problem, so that our solution can meet what they feel they need help with. So 40% said they were never tardy. 1 to 3 times a semester, which is still in that acceptable range, 28.7. So together we're looking at 68% is the population that we're really not needing to address tardies with. 1 to 3 times a month, we're getting into 9%. 1 to 3 times a week, we jump to 13%. So obviously you have a very select group of students that the tardies are becoming an issue, and they're building off each other, and those are the students that are losing those 4 to 8 minutes or 3 instructional days a semester or a year, because of tardies. So that is the target market that we need to reach with this district tardy policy. So Shawnee Mission North, Northwest, South, and those 3 schools, their policy that is written in their handbook is those who have excessive tardies are subject to appropriate disciplinary consequences. Those consequences are not worded, they're not spelled out, the students don't know what those are. I am maybe as building level administrators, we're thinking that they have an understanding of what those consequences will be. However, they are not spelled out to those who maybe are just looking through the handbook, or the parents who maybe their child is having an issue with tardies. They don't know what the requirements are for them, how many times will they get in trouble, what level of trouble are they going to be in, and at what point does it become a severe disciplinary action towards them for the tardies. Shawnee Mission East and Shawnee Mission West, they have a 6 tardy discipline procedure. So they have tardies, the first to the third are at the teacher's discretion. So if you are the first one, it happens. The second one, maybe the teacher would be responsible for whatever discipline they see. And then the third one, that would be the final discipline that was handled by the teacher. The 4th is a referral to the office. The 5th is appropriate disciplinary action per administration. And the 6th is appropriate disciplinary action per administration that may include suspension. So now we've at least at East and West lined, this is how many tardies, and this could be your final step if you did get to above 6 tardies. So how students feel about the current discipline, I thought this was a little bit interesting because, again, we have that group that we are trying to focus. Is anything that we're doing deterring their tardies? So with that question, one was, the question is fear of discipline deterring for being late? 168 responses. If they answered 1, it was not at all. And then number 5 on the opposite end of the scale was yes, I don't like being in trouble. So I was surprised. Our highest number was actually at number 5. They don't like being in trouble. However, as a district, we need to make sure that we are pushing a tardy policy that results in maybe not trouble, but they need to understand that there is going to be consequences for those actions, because a majority of the students don't like the idea that they're going to be in trouble for being late. However, if we're not disciplining them correctly or consistently, they don't feel like they're not in trouble, therefore they're not choosing to fix the behavior. So my suggestion to the district, and what we will be discussing after this presentation, is a positive sweep. So the way this would be rolled out, and again, this would be across the districts or all 5 high schools, so that we keep that consistency, because we do have students that transfer between different high schools during the year and before and at the ending of the school year. So this way it would be a consistent policy, so there would be no question. Positive sweep, the way it is outlined: after the tardy bell rings, administrators and security personnel sweep the hallways, sending wayward students to the office, where they would record tardies, write passes, and send students back to classes. So again, we would have personnel that would actually go through the halls, anybody who is not in their classroom, and that could be traveling between the bathroom and the classroom to the drinking fountain. If you are not in a classroom, you will be swept, sent down to the office. That will be recorded as a tardy, and then you will be sent back to class. After that sweep, students are swept into a designated location. Their tardy is recorded, they're given the passes, and then escorted, that is a key word, escorted to the correct classroom. Not, here's your pass, go to class, because now this student is going to be wandering this way to go all the way around the school to get to the classroom they're supposed to be in. So they would be actually escorted by either security, teacher, administrator, somebody who would be able to make sure they were going to the correct classroom, and they actually walk in the classroom at that point. So sweeps are tallied and disciplined on a quarterly basis. So again, this would reset every quarter. The first offense would be a warning. Fair enough. You are running late. Maybe you had to go to the bathroom, which is all understandable, but you need to check in with your teacher before going to the bathroom if you feel like it's going to make you late. But that first sweep would be a warning. Second offense would be a lunch detention, served that day or the next day. So they are getting the consequence immediately following them being tardy. Third offense, call home and or Saturday school. We would notify the parents at that point. Your student has been tardy now 3 times, and this could be in one day, which is showing a behavior that maybe needs to be addressed regardless. But this could be, over a week span, over 2 week, 3 week. But that third one, we're going to contact the parents and say, listen, your student's really having a problem getting to class on time. He will be in Saturday school to, have time to really reflect on what he can do to make it to class on time. We want to make you aware of the situation. The fourth offense would be loss of privileges for the quarter, including admission to dances, sporting activities, etc. So I will show you some results from the survey, but one of the biggest deterrents for not being tardy is if you were to lose those actual privileges, then those students would feel that it would be more important for them to be on time, because now they're seeing the results of them not being on time and having some sort of a consequence for their action. So students say, so this is the survey that I was speaking of, loss of privileges like not being able to attend a sporting event or a dance would make me be on time more often. And that I received 167 responses. And again, 1 was, no, don't care, it's not going to affect me. And number 5 is, yes, I don't want to lose those privileges. Overwhelmingly, you can see here, 46.7% said absolutely, if you were going to take away the chance for me to go to a dance, I would make sure I was going to be on time and be cognizant of how many tardies I've had in that quarter so that I would be able to attend these different school events. By implementing a positive sweep, studies have shown that you can virtually eliminate tardies in a short amount of time, and some schools have reduced tardies by more than 90% in only 5 weeks. So again, this is all about the timeliness and the implementation of this tardy policy. So a 90% reduction in 5 weeks. Again, remember, we're adding 4 to 8 minutes back into your class, which is going to add to those 3 days over the span of the school year. So again, it's quick, and the impact is going to be almost immediate 5 weeks into school, you would be back to being having students, a majority of the students in class on time. So a positive sweep equals increased instructional time and momentum. And again, this is not a concept that I created. It is something that I have researched from the National Middle School Association, and it has been adapted by a number of schools, and they've actually seen these results that have decreased the number of tardies that students are having on a regular basis. So added benefits, you're going to create a positive climate. Again, you're not starting the class period with the negative, okay, Susie, you're late to class again. Let me mark it in the grade book. Okay, you have a detention after school. So you're not starting your class on that negative tone. You're starting with a positive tone, which is always important to get the momentum of your class going. You're going to reduce absenteeism. You're going to decrease misbehavior, fights, and bullying. Again, a majority of this happens not necessarily during the passing period, but as students are being tardy, and we would have that presence of administration or security in the hall. So the chance of fights, the number of fights going down would definitely increase because we have that presence in the hallway. And they are trying to get to class, and if they're not, they know there's going to be an adult coming by to do a sweep. So it's going to limit the number of fights and bullying that happen. It's going to improve faculty and staff morale. And again, speaking as a current teacher and speaking to a room full of teachers, somebody that was a teacher at some point in time, your morale is going to go up because you're going to have students there. They're going to be on time. You're not losing that 4 to 8 minutes. You're not having to repeat yourself. You're not having to give zeros for somebody who missed a quiz that was starting at the beginning of the class period. And to improve student skills by teaching responsibility, respect, and civility. Again, these are lifelong skills that are going to follow them into the workplace past graduation, and hopefully even while they are in high school, this will carry on to their current jobs as well. So those are skills that need to be taught and that will follow them. So here are the sources that I used. Again, to the district, I am proposing the positive sweep. I believe that this is going to be probably our best effort in getting students to class on time and adding those 3 instructional days back in by bringing down the number of tardies. And again, with the positive sweep, it has been researched and shown that 90% in 5 weeks, we're going to have those students back in class, and that is very important. So I will open the floor up for discussion now, and please let me know what I can do to help or what questions I can share my research with you. Thank you.